This is TPC News Network Global Edition, your news source from around the world. With award-winning anchorwoman Molly Hatchett and news correspondents Nick Nitro, Kira Leza, and Matt DiStefanopolis.
In other news, Jesus of Nazareth, the man many claim is the Messiah, was arrested last night in Gethsemane. Sources say one of his followers, a zealot named Judas, arrived at the garden where Jesus and several others were praying. With Judas was a group of soldiers and high priests who seized the prophet when Judas approached him and gave him what appeared to be a kiss. A servant who was injured when one of Jesus' followers drew a sword and cut off the man's ear. Miraculously, Jesus apparently touched the man, and the ear was reattached. The group led Jesus away from Gethsemane to answer to an assembly of chief priests and scribes who will lead an interrogation and determine his fate. So who is this man Jesus? Some say he's a great prophet. Some claim he is the Messiah, as foretold by Isaiah. Still, others say he's a fraud and his teachings border on heresy. We take you now to Nick Nitro, our field correspondent, who explores who this Jesus actually is. Is he really the one sent from God to deliver us as the prophets foretold? Or is he just another crazed madman, full of disillusion and wild stories? Nick?
So, who is this man Jesus? His father was a carpenter, and yet he has performed these miracles of God. Now, I am about to go out to the field, to the many places where he has performed these miracles. Here behind me is a field where Jesus has fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 3 fishes. That was one of the many miracles he has performed. Many people have one question on their minds. Who is this man they call Jesus? We don't know much about him, but we do know that his father was a carpenter in Nazareth. He himself was a carpenter until about 3 years ago, when he left everything behind and began traveling and speaking to large gatherings. He has performed miracles and has healed the sick. He has revived a dead man, and he has also healed a blind man and a paralyzed man. He has also performed some of these miracles on Sabbath day, which is very wrong. But remember, he has associated himself with sinners and has been nice to tax collectors. Many believe that he should be a warrior to fight the Romans, not a man who spends his time in the temple and preaching. In a bizarre turn of events, the very crowd that welcomed him just a few days ago turned ugly and demanded his death. Here, in this garden, is the very place where Jesus was captured and betrayed by one of his own disciples. I'm Nick Nitro. Back to you, Molly.
So there you have it. Looks like you'll have to decide for yourself. This reporter, speaking for herself, however, must admit, this Jesus of Nazareth is the likes of someone we've never seen before. I, for one, believe. This is Molly Hatchett from TPC News Network, wishing you safe travels. Once again, thank you for watching TPC News Network. Good night. The man many claim is the Messiah has been found guilty of heresy and being a false prophet according to the high priests. He was brought before Pontius Pilate, who questioned him. Pilate told TPC News that he found no basis to convict Jesus of any crime, but the crowds outside his court, who were so determined to punish him, gave him little choice but to hand him over to be executed. When given the option to release Jesus or Barabbas, who you might remember as the man who was convicted of several murders throughout Jerusalem, the crowd overwhelmingly chose to free Barabbas. So what will be the fate that awaits Jesus? He is to be executed by crucifixion. He will be stripped and whipped. Then he will be led to Golgotha, the mountain of skulls. There he will be nailed to a cross and hung until he dies. Nick, our field correspondent, is on the scene of this extraordinary event.
I am outside the place where Jesus is being interrogated by the high priests. I can hear muffled noises while I'm just standing right here. Now, this information will not be released to the public. Not yet, anyway. Unnamed sources have told me that Jesus will be held on trial with 2 decisions for the people, him or the murderer, Barabbas.